What's up, Lycans? Firstly, a quick apology for the lack of content this last week, but my mum moved into my new house now. We're going to be back to the weekly upload schedule as of right now. So, as promised, here is episode 1 in my guides with some tips on how to combat each of the character classes. The way I'm going to try this first episode is to take a character and give some tips on how to fight them with each class. First, we're going to take a look at how to combat Marianne. Before we dive in, if you want to keep supporting the channel, please consider a free subscription. Helps the growth, and every sub is one more step towards increasing our weekly uploads and live streams. If you have any more tips to share, then drop below in the comments and hit that like button if you find this video useful. So we'll start with a few things about Marianne. Firstly, we know her crossbow is absolutely deadly in the right hands. My common tactic when playing Marianne myself is to dodge and then aim for headshots. So this is something we need to bear in mind when we're fighting her. Secondly, Marianne players like to crawl around you to try and get an assassination. I see this a lot, even when you know she's there and she knows you know she's there. It was tricky to counter this on console due to the really low sensitivity, but with the new patch, it's a little bit easier to track them as they're walking around you. Two things you can do here. Locking on with John and Tuck and then constantly walking backwards will stop her from being able to get behind you. On PC, you can track them easily enough to just keep spinning and she'll never be able to get behind you. You are locked in a stalemate when this happens though. What the Marianne player is waiting for is for you to try and attack, get stuck in the animation when you miss her, and then she'll have a clean run to get the assassination off on you. My go-to tactic with this is to get a little bit of distance from her, turn and sprint away to reset the fight. Marianne's light attacks are pretty weak, but they are fast and will burn through stamina if you just hold block with the two melee characters. It's rare I'll see a Marianne player running for a fight like that, but focus on parrying if she does. If you're playing a Robin, dodge away, as you obviously can't parry her. Her ultimate makes her invisible, and I use the term invisible very lightly. She's pretty easy to spot when she is invisible. Only problem is you can't lock on or tag her when she's in that state. I tend to put my back to a wall where I can when she pops this, just in case. I don't really bother attacking her while she's invisible unless there is multiple of us around, and then you can just spam her. Let's take a quick look now at the different classes versus Marianne, starting with John. I found Marianne to be my nemesis when I'm playing John. She seems really well equipped for dealing with him, as he relies on being so close to land his shots. As with any play with John, if she doesn't know you're coming, just sprint and hit her in her stupid face. If you enter into a 1v1, try to bait her into dodging. A good tip I do is to just sprint at her but don't attack. She'll likely dodge when she thinks you're about to slam, and hopefully dodge out of the way of nothing. This can give you a good window to start hitting her with light attacks. To close the gap with John, don't just walk holding block, as she'll burn your stamina pretty fast. You can see an animation when she raises her crossbow to shoot, so either block then or try to parry her shots. Don't underestimate your light attack with John. It's powerful if you throw the right perks on and won't burn you out as quickly. In short, try to bait her dodges and get some attacks in. The goal is to force her to have 0 stamina so it takes longer to recharge, then launch her attack. Block her, parry her bolts the best you can. She is going to try and dodge and shoot to wear your HP down, so keep that in mind. I found Tuck to be the best character for fighting Marianne, in my opinion. His large sweeping attacks make it difficult for her to dodge away. I'm not saying she can't dodge away from them, it's just more difficult. Tuck loses more stamina from blocking, so try your best to parry her bolts as you close the gap. Once you're close enough, you can use a sprint and attack, which will likely hit her regardless of her dodge. Tuck's light attacks hit in a sweeping arc in front of him, which can be useful for hitting her. He also hits like a truck, so don't just spam heavy attacks on her either. Make the most of those light attacks. One heavy attack will pretty much kill a Marianne, especially if you're running the full HP does more damage perk. So if you do land one, you're pretty much sorted. If you run with a stamina draining grenade, throwing one of them behind her can help, as she's likely to dodge away from you. It'll drain her stamina a lot quicker and it will let you drop her pretty quickly. Again, remember the white inside the lock-on box. This will tell you when you're in range for your heavy attack, and Tuck has some crazy range. When she inevitably disengages and turns to run away, you can quite easily hit her with a heavy attack or just chase her down and slam her. As a Robin, you do have a couple of choices. You can either have a dodge / shoot fight with her. If you go down this route, remember her bolts are generally quicker to use than your arrows. She doesn't have to draw her crossbow. It's full damage straight away. It's not impossible to win these fights, but I've always felt slightly disadvantaged when I go 1v1 with a Marianne like this. Your melee attacks do significantly more damage than she does, especially if you're running melee perks on Robin, which you should be at least running one of them. Closing the gap and just spamming light attacks at her is a really decent way to attack, and to be honest, most people don't expect it from a Robin. Robin's grenade is surprisingly useful against Marianne. I don't bother using it against Tux or Johns as they can lock on through the grenade, so all it really does is make them have no stamina for a while. As Marianne can't lock on, throwing a flashbang in her face will drain her stamina and make it so she can't see you properly, which will really help out. I just want to point out at this point and preempt some of the comments. These guides are to help win 1v1 fights directly with the classes. Obviously, the best way to kill a Marianne is a Robin is from a distance when she doesn't know you're there. Lastly, and quite an easy one to talk about, is Marianne versus Marianne. This will boil down to who's the better shot, to be honest. I quite enjoy going toe-to-toe with another Marianne because it is a big test of skill. It's great practice for timing your dodges. The goal is to try and dodge her bolts and then hit your bolts in between her dodges. Honestly, it's a lot of fun. I don't bother charging and firing, just dodge and fling a bolt at her and hopefully you can hit her head. If you start running out of ammo, either run away and reset or rush her with melee. Depending on the perks you run, you can get ammo back when you rush into her. You can get some of your bolts back. One of the most hilarious things I've seen is two Mariannes just crouch walking in circles around one another, trying to get an assassinate off. Funny to watch, but can be really irritating, to be honest. So, very quick summary of the video. John versus Marianne, try to parry her shots as best you can and close the gap. Be careful not to get animation locked in your heavy attack. Bait her dodges by sprinting a short distance at her but not attacking. Tuck versus Marianne, parry to close the gap, but you can keep more distance than what John can. Take advantage of the sweeping arc of his light attack and the absolute devastating range of his heavy attack. Robin versus Marianne, either have a dodge / shoot battle with her, or my preferred way is to close the gap and go in with melee attacks. Obviously, try to pick her off from a distance if you can. And then Marianne versus Marianne, practice your aim as much as you can. Try to anticipate her dodges. Don't charge your shots, just ping one bolt and whittle her down. So, hope you find this guide useful. It's obviously very early days with HUD, so I'm sure this information will change over time and I'll keep pumping these videos out to try and give you guys the best tactics possible. Let me know if you have any tips you're willing to share below, and remember to hit that sub button. It's completely free. It's massively helping me on my journey. For now, take it easy, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.